Hello and welcome to Loving Me, Myself, and Life with me, Joan Misiak, and welcome to the coaching series. And today we're going to talk about how do you manage anxiety when you're making a big decision, either a move, career change, relationship. What do you do when things feel so overwhelming? Well, hang tight and I'm going to walk you through it. You're in the right spot. So, I've had my fair share of big decisions and having some serious feelings. And the biggest one I can think of to date is actually when I made a decision that I wanted to move out west on the coast in British Columbia. And when I made that decision, it was awesome. It was easy. It was simple. Now, not every decision is going to be like that. And first, I want to back up for a second, actually. If you're feeling anxious or overwhelmed about making a decision, it's perfectly okay to feel that way. It really is. I felt it a lot making different decisions. So when I was making that decision, literally, my heart knew what I wanted. But then the moment I started making steps to make it real, like when I was like, oh my goodness, this is real, this is happening, that's when fear and doubt and some serious big feelings came in and made me feel really not good, to say the least. Like, I remember we literally figured out where we were going to move. And then I remember talking to my husband, and this is through COVID time. So we actually planned on moving before everything shut down. But then all of a sudden, the world changed in an instant. Our kids were home from school and daycare, and things were a little harder to move around. In fact, where we moved to, you couldn't rent hotels and things like that. You couldn't stay anywhere. So I actually had to pivot and pause for a second. And in those pivots and pause moments, I almost talked myself out of this huge decision. So if you're facing a huge decision right now, I feel you, and I'm so see you right now. And I've been there. So I remember even saying to my mom, oh, maybe we'll just move up north in Ontario, because I really wanted to live by water and be by water. It was my number one thing I wanted, was to be near water, nature, and be more in a quieter place than the city. So I almost talked myself out of like what I actually wanted, though, was not as harsh winters, more mild, the mountains. I love the mountains. Anyways, so I almost talked myself out, though, because we had to pause and figure out what we were doing. I remember going to my mom, like I said, hey, maybe we'll just find something up north. Turns out the universe had my back. Nothing was really available. Everything was kind of going really quickly and crazily. So thankfully, it was hard. And then also, my husband and I had some major talks. So one of the things I'd like to say today to you, if you are making a decision, is talk to somebody. Now, somebody you trust, not somebody that's going to feed into your fears. Because here's the truth. When you share your fears with people, if that fear is theirs too, or they'll even mirror it back to you sometimes. I had that experience happen where we talked even just jokingly about moving out west, and it was not well received by family members. Now, was that my own fear showing? Possibly. It's also could have been their fear of losing us and moving away. So I had some really big things I needed to deal with. So first off is talk to somebody you trust and that has your best interest at heart. Now, family has our best interest at heart, but sometimes their fears, their thoughts and stuff can interfere with them supporting you in that process. I hope that makes sense. The other one is so talking it through, having a conversation, especially if this change is involving somebody else. Also, it's feeling it, like figure out, okay, I'm feeling this. Where is it showing up in your body? And just honor those feelings because they're trying to tell you something. And it might not be anything other than letting something go. So the next step is figuring out what is causing you this anxiety or this overwhelm or fear. A lot of the time when we make a change, fear creeps in, and it's perfectly normal. It happens all the time. It's something new. We don't know what's going to happen. Will this change impact us in a great way or not a great way? Is it going to be good or not good? We don't know because as far as I can tell, I don't have a crystal ball, so I can't see into the future. And it's scary. It's scary not knowing. So it's leaning into that anxiety, those fears and things like that. And really think about what is causing this anxiety or this overwhelm or this fear. What am I afraid of? And then ask yourself, what would love have me do? Or you can even look at it from a different perspective and imagine a friend coming to you with the same career change or relationship or big decision, the move across the country, whatever it is. Imagine a friend asking you the same thing. Take yourself out of the equation. What would you tell them to do? I find that it's easier to give other people advice, but when we're living in the moment, in our own bodies or in our own head, our own space, it can be really hard to see how great the decision can be or not be. So what would love have me do? Or completely change it around in a different perspective. And then the other question I'd have you ask yourself is, if I couldn't fail or if nothing would go wrong, what would I be doing? If I couldn't fail, if I knew this outcome was going to be great. When we remove the fears and the overwhelm, we can see things clearer. The decisions come up. I also, when I'm making a big decision, I lean on the universe for support. And one of the biggest things I've learned, and it was through Gabby Bernstein, is I choose love instead of this. So if you've already made the decision to move or a career change, and now you're just like, oh my goodness, what have I done? You're laying awake at night, feeling so stressed out. What if I made the wrong decision? And you're all in your head. A simple thing to do is catch those thoughts when they happen. And with love, there's no blame, shame, guilt, none of this. It's perfectly normal to feel big things while making a big decision. So when you catch yourself, in the fearful thoughts, is I choose love instead of this. Whatever those thoughts are. I use this phrase a lot, like almost on a weekly basis, possibly daily basis sometimes, depending on what's going on in my life. When I'm creeping up and fear comes in and I'm like, worst case scenario flying through my brain and my head, like all the things like, what if this could go wrong? And what about this? And what about that? I'm like, whoa, slow down. Or I don't even say that sometimes. I'll just be like, I choose love instead of this. So instead of this fear, instead of this anxiety, you choose love. So coming from a place of love. And when all else fails, remember what your heart told you. So like I said, if you've already made the decision, deep down, you probably made it with love. And it's focusing on the bits that are going to be really good. So for instance, with our move, I was not loving the idea of leaving all my family back in Ontario. However, I was so done with where we were living and I really wanted something different. Deep down, I knew that I wanted something different. It wasn't about running away from my family or running away from my life, but it was like running towards something. And it took me a long time to be okay with that. And it's just little steps, baby steps. Just be like, right, I'm doing this because. Because here's a fun fact. I never actually was in BC before we moved here. Well, before I went and looked at houses. That was the first time I ever stepped foot in British Columbia, was when I flew across the country to look at homes for my husband and kids. And in fact, I went alone because we have 2 young kids and it was, different weird times. So we just did where I just looked and went looking for our new home. And it was actually really important because I wasn't there before. So it was really important to see the surroundings. But also I have more checklists when I'm looking at a home than my husband. And we talked about it and things anyways. So But I did this alone and it was very empowering. So when we move through the anxiety or the fears creating that anxiety, it can be really empowering. So when you're doing this, try and come from a place of love and understanding. So it's really coming and being in that place. Be like, you know what? It's okay that I'm feeling this way. It is okay to feel that way. And then pull back the layers a bit. Be like, why am I feeling this way? Maybe other people's beliefs or thoughts are creeping in. Maybe you actually have to let go of something to allow space for this new thing. It's what I had to do because I was the first family member to leave the province of Ontario. Everybody else stayed fairly close, not super close, but most stayed really close. So for me, it was a really big deal with my family. But I had to let those beliefs and thoughts go. That where I grew up, where I lived most of my life, I didn't have to stay there if I didn't want to anymore. So I had to let go a lot of my own beliefs, or not even my own beliefs and thoughts, but I had to let go of a lot of beliefs and thoughts that were no longer serving me. So that's why it's really important to figure out why you feel anxious or what's causing fear about this big change. Maybe you don't have enough information with your new career or the move. Do a little research and look for this information through the eyes of love. Choose love when you're looking at things. And again, remember that, life is here to support you. Feel the support around you through the universe. I could go further. Like, I actually ask for signs, like Gabby Bernstein. I follow her and I've done a lot of things. So if this is another thing that you really have a big decision to make, I really encourage you to read The Universe Has Your Back or The Super Attractor. The Super Attractor is actually the book that I was reading as I made this big life change. So if you need a little bit more resources on the universe and support, it's not really in my wheelhouse of teaching, but it's something I do on a daily basis myself. I guess technically that would make me an excellent teacher. However, it's not what I speak into on a daily basis, but it is something I use often. And if you want more support to really help you reclaim your joy, maybe you don't feel like you deserve this new career change or relationship, or that, you're not in a good mindset to make decisions, or maybe you're just in that middle of the messiness of the big decisions, because, we can make those decisions. And Robin Sharma says something that stuck with me, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the quote in front of me right now, but it just came up, and I want to share it. It's hard at the beginning, messy in the middle, and beautiful at the end. So it's really like, if you are just making a decision, that can be really hard, actually deciding to change something. And then the middle, it's a hot mess of everything. You got your thoughts going on. You got everything, the should I not, all these things coming up. Big feelings, little feelings, and everything in between. But then at the end, once you've moved through the fear, moved through the anxiety and all those big feelings, you come out the other side and you're like, wow, I did it and it's great. Because let me tell you one thing. I have never, ever regretted moving to the coast in British Columbia. Not for one moment. Now, do I miss my family? Absolutely. And there's days where I remember the life that I had in Ontario. And there's definitely little things about it I miss. But I have never once regretted the move that literally made me so anxious and fearful. And then, we had such a hard time packing up our house before moving. I had locked jaw. I wasn't sleeping at night. We didn't eat meals for days because we were packing. We lived off of fudgesicles for I don't know how many days. I'd have to ask my husband, but it was a very stressful time. So I want to remind you of this one thing, and I know I've said it already, but before I go, it is okay to feel anxious and overwhelmed and afraid of new beginnings. It is absolutely okay. Feel that. Just try not to let them dictate where you go next. Feel them. Try to understand them. And then let them go so you can come from a place of love and really move forward to your new beginning. And if you'd like a little bit more support with your, reclaiming your joy, like I was mentioning earlier and I got off topic, is I have a free self-love masterclass. And it's 3 simple steps to help you reclaim your joy. So if you'd like that, it's absolutely free. You don't have to sign up and wait for it to happen. It is there waiting for you. It will get sent directly to your inbox so you can listen right away. I know how life can get busy, and I have signed up for things before and then forget. This is you sign up and you listen instantly, so there's no forgetting, and you can get right to reclaiming your joy so you can live an empowering life you love. Thank you so much for being here. I hope this has helped. And if you love these mini coaching sessions, please share and subscribe. And if you want some one-on-one coaching, I have actually opened up space on my calendar. I haven't done this for a very long time. I'm not sure how long I can do this, but for now, I have opened it up. And you can go to my website at jodymisiak.com, and it's under Get Support. And there's a few different ways of getting support with me. And in the fall, I have another really beautiful offering that I'm working on. So if you want to stay tuned to all the new things happening here on the podcast or ways you can get support, please join my community. It's at the bottom of my website at jodymisiak.com. And you can just join and I'll send you updates and keep you in the loop for all the new exciting things happening because there's some really cool things happening around here. So I'm very excited. So stay tuned. And thank you again for being here. Take care and have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye for now.